guys, so welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the XRT build. Finally got my larger diameter wire care sheathing in, so got that installed off camera. I already showed you how to do it on the ESC. Didn't need to repeat myself. So got that installed, ready to go. Today's going to be the final couple pieces short of the PNWRC Madness belt drive cover. I'm going to leave that off as I do the first runs on this thing, just to make sure my belt tension and everything's correct on that. So probably won't show that. Very basic install. So today we got the Hyperflow fans we're going to install, as well as a ESC plate that I got off from a guy off of Facebook. It's going to sit over your receiver box like so. Mount your ESC to give you just a lot of space for the with the new G2 setup. Everything that's out is kind of really tight against this motor when you're trying to fit it in this space. So this will keep the receiver box and everything in the factory location. Mount up to that. Hyperflow includes quite a few little connectors, either to run off your balance port on a battery or an on-off switch that I'm going to utilize, as well as connectors to get it to your receiver. Using the stock Traxxas receiver and transmitter for now. It's only going to allow me to run it at 6 volts is what this is rated for. May be able to take 7, probably fry it pretty quickly though. So we'll run it on 6, and if I'm not happy with servo performance and fan performance, we will go ahead and look at maybe either running a BEC or just upgrading the radio and transmitter, or radio receiver that can run a higher voltage. So this mount will work with your stock motor and heatsink. It has the bolts to use that, and if not, what you're going to utilize is zip ties, and it has some slots here and here, so we're going to feed those through like so. Seems super high quality, look really cool as well. Comes, with wire sheath and everything on it, anodized button heads and whatnot to give you a super clean look. So gotta get this zip tie pulled through. And everything I've seen sits in the forward position here. Get these pulled around at the side. I'm going to be cinching it down to. The goal here is to get all my electronics ran, and I think what I'm going to do is flip all of these through this space here to make it look nice and clean. Get that sitting down. And I'm going to slide it back a little bit just to give me some room. Looked at a couple 3D printed motor supports that you zip tie on to where if you ever get enough flex to where it bangs down, you're not going to, tear up the can on your motor or anything like that, or flex, bend your motor mount. So you're just going to cinch these zip ties up. I'm just going to get them lightly on there to start. That way we can adjust as needed. These kind of have a couple ridges on it that should snug down the can of the motor. On this Hobbywing Max G2 800 kV has a little bit of a ridge to be able to hopefully snug down on that. So get those put into place, sitting nice like that. Go ahead, and I think I'm going to flip my sensor wire through here as well to keep that cable management going, and we will throw on the connector here. Actually, let me see. Before I do that, I'm going to try to work on this end. hopefully I get it in the right orientation to where I don't have to pull everything off. It's hard to test stuff when you got your factory ESC pulled out and everything. So hopefully I'm not pulling anything back through to switch the plug orientation. But all right, so that will power your fans into the aux ports on your receiver there and give you an on-off switch. You can run it without the on-off switch to where they just power on immediately when you power on the vehicle every time. But we're going to go ahead and do it like that. And here we have the Max5g2 ESC. And I think what I'm going to do is throw a two-sided piece of tape underneath it to just give it a little bit of cushioning. I'm not going to stick it down on both ends. That way I can remove it as needed. So yeah, that's a good length there. I'm going to go ahead and stick it to the ESC plate. Had to drill this out just slightly to widen a bolt hole. The guy that makes these, he makes them by hand, so you know what his bolt pattern is might just be slightly off from mine. But got that in there just to give the ESC a tiny bit of cushion from impact. And we are going to get this screwed down. Again, it's a little hard to work with when you're trying to screw something down while also run wires and whatnot, but we will get it done. So the guy I got it from, he provides screws and everything. Need to check, see if Hobbywing gave me some mounting screws for the ESC. Does not look like they did. So dig into the screw kit. Let's see what we got here for utilizing some short screws. All right, those should work. Get this plate mounted up. Screws that I grabbed are a 2mm. Oh, grabbed the wrong one, a little too long for the depth. thread it on there. Alright, so we got those snugged up, got our ESC plate ready to go. Going to feed the wire through. Like that hobby wing gives you plenty of length for however you're going to need to mount this. Alright, so we got that. And that is going to go on channel 2 of your Traxxas receiver. Go ahead and throw the fan. The TSM one's on the top. Not sure if that'll screw with it, so I'm going to throw it into another port. And at this point, that should be all of my electronics that I need to run. So try to get this stuff out of the way here. I'm going to throw a little bit of grease onto the input of the receiver box cover, the foam piece, just to help with a little bit of water protection. As well as throw just a tad on the O-ring, goes around your RX box cover. A, just to help moisture on that O-ring to where it doesn't get dried out and brittle. B, it's just going to help with a tad bit of sealing and waterproofing. Okay, so at this point you can go ahead and align your wires correctly to where it goes out of the necessary ports. I'm going to set this cover down. I'm not going to screw it down because the receiver or the ESC plate uses some screws that go into that. We could go ahead and put our receiver box cover back on. And if I run into power issues, I'll probably take care of that off camera. Just know if I do, all I'm doing is switching the way that the plug goes into the receiver box for if things aren't getting power. Alright, so we got that on. And now we will go ahead and get the ESC plate mounted up. Includes these little, essentially hard plastic straws, but it's going to screw into the top two posts of your steering cover, and then these little stanchions are going to go in the little recessed holes on the wire cover here. Gives it a little post to sit on. Slide that forward to get our mounting holes. And I'm just going to get all these screws, just a couple threads in to get our orientation right. And since I had to round out the holes ever so slightly, found a couple small washers that I had. I'm going to throw those over the front holes. snug them all the way down. Get the other side. The other hole was the hole I kind of had to round out a little bit. So I'm just trying to get that lined up, and I'm going to probably back off these a little bit. Give me a little bit more wiggle room. Really hope I don't have to pull all this off to switch power wires, but we shall see. All right, so we got our ESC in place, everything. I'll do a little bit of cable management here using the factory locations. Actually, I meant to run it under the plate. We'll see if I can still somewhat achieve that. A little bit like that. And so you'll throw your sensor wire on, and with this setup being censored and everything, you do have to run A to A, B to B, C to C, so it's going to slightly go in a cross orientation. Clean that up and decide how I like it most, but you get the gist. And we will go ahead and double side our power switch wherever seems to work the best for the ESC, as well as mount up the on-off switch for the Hyperflow fans. But there you have it. This is kind of the final product. You know, I got this to run to where I could run different battery leads depending on the batteries that you have. Everything's all lime green and black matching, looking good. So at this point, probably film another video of just calibrating the ESC, running some power to it, and then once everything is functioning as it needs to, we will go ahead and take it out just for a little rip on the concrete to make sure that belt tension and everything's good, everything seems to be functioning fine, and then really rip it. So one side note is with the belt drive, and especially with the belt drive cover, you do have to notch. There's the body support. There's a tab right in the middle that you're going to have to cut out to allow this to fit without rubbing. So as always, guys, please like, comment, subscribe, follow through on the playlist for this build and see it from start to finish. Let me know what you think in the comments. Anything else you think I should do to this that you guys would like to see. Thank you, guys.